There are a ton of teasers and news dropping online about Chapter 7 Season 2, and I guarantee it's going to completely blow your mind. We are talking about the epic return of legends, some massive map changes, and hidden secrets inside the official teasers that you definitely missed. First things first, we have to talk about what went down last weekend. Fortnite actually ran it back and repeated the rocket event, bringing the visitor back to the island. If you're wondering why Epic pulled a do-over for an event we've already seen, it basically boils down to the fact that they didn't give enough of a heads up the first time, so only about 300,000 people caught it live. This time though, they gave us a solid week of warning, and nearly 1.5 million players packed the servers on Saturday. On top of replaying it, they also handed out a pretty clutch bonus, a free loading screen, just for logging into the game while it was happening. But the real hype started after the dust settled, because Fortnite immediately hit social media with the first official teaser for the Season 2 map locations. In the image, you can spot the 3 new zones, along with Hope and Jonesy. The visitor is right there next to them, and if you look closely behind the Voyager, you can actually see the rift that the rocket blasted out of. This is the exact same screen we saw at the kickoff of the season, which pretty much confirms that the Last Reality is constantly watching our every move. Skipping the deep lore dive for a second and just looking at the new drop spots, the most hyped one is definitely the Ice King's castle. This practically guarantees we're getting the Ice King himself as a boss on his own turf in Season 2. Epic has actually been breadcrumbing this for a minute. During the Power Hour last week, they dropped a teaser clearly showing this castle. It's nowhere on the current map, and it's directly tied to the OG Ice King, who famously threw the entire island into a deep freeze back in the day. As for the other locations, the image on the left shows an area that looks almost identical to our current desert biome. But my money says that won't be the final location. We're probably getting a massive new spot added to the desert later in the season. Then there's the spot on the right, which literally just shows water and a lighthouse. Honestly, if that's the whole POI, it would be a total snooze fest, so I'm betting something way bigger goes down there. These images are just giving us the general footprint of the map changes. But here is the craziest part. A trusted leaker already mapped out exactly where these 3 major changes might happen. And rumor has it these locations might actually be pulled from a completely different reality. Fortnite tweeted out a cryptic number on loop, and if you check the current Battle Pass screen, it clearly states we are in reality 266. It's just a theory for now, but it adds up perfectly. The teasers this week weren't just about the map though. We got some major hints about the Battle Pass lineup. When Epic announced the event redo, they casually showed off the new Order skin, which has this incredibly clean remake design that leakers have basically locked in for the pass. We even spotted a survey concept that looks exactly like a secondary style for her. Now, early word was that this pass would be heavily Nordic themed, but a leaker recently walked that back a bit. We might still get a Viking-style skin or two, but that leads into the wildest curveball of the week. Bugs Bunny is reportedly joining the Season 2 Battle Pass. I know, comparing Bugs to Norse mythology makes 0 sense, but think about how they dropped Magneto into the wrecked season out of nowhere. We could easily see the same thing happen with an iconic version of Bugs. I just hope they give him multiple edit styles, because just having his base look would be a massive missed opportunity for a pass. Keeping the momentum going, this pass is going to share a major trait with our current Season 1 pass. We are getting multiple distinct collabs. Word on the street is an Overwatch hero is taking up a slot, though the exact character is still under wraps. That leaves one final Battle Pass skin that leaked this week, and a lot of you already called it, a remake of the Foundation. If that pans out, we're getting 2 members of the 7 in a single pass. And the collab train doesn't stop there. The Overwatch leak actually stems from rumors of a massive crossover event, where we'd get 1 hero in the pass and 3 more hitting the item shop. If you've been keeping up with my news videos, you already know Daffy Duck has been leaked for even longer than Bugs, complete with Lego files sitting in the game code for weeks. So, Daffy and Lola Bunny are absolutely hitting the item shop. We even know Daffy is coming bundled with a back bling, an emote, and that Lego style. And now for the absolute wildest collab of the entire video, and probably all of Season 2. Tong Tong Sahur is officially dropping as a skin, complete with his own pickaxe. We've also heard whispers about Doja Cat wanting an 80s themed skin, though who knows if Epic is actually making that happen for this season. Sadly, to wrap the leaks up on a bit of a bummer, leakers are highly doubting the original Ice King will be in the Battle Pass at all. Despite being a huge player in both the OG and main storyline, if he doesn't hit the item shop, he's definitely not getting any new styles. Finally, like I teased at the very beginning of the video, we need to talk about the new February crew pack. The skin itself is honestly pretty sweet, but the real game changer here is the insane value. If you time it exactly right, a single crew purchase can score you up to 9 different battle passes and 4,000 V-Bucks. The secret is buying your crew subscription during the absolute sweet spot, which is between March 16th and March 18th. Let me break down exactly how this strategy works and why those dates matter so much. First, let's talk about getting those 4,000 V-Bucks. Before you do anything, make sure you hit level 200 on your current battle pass. Once you do that, go ahead and buy the crew pack between the 16th and the 18th. You'll instantly get the standard 1,000 V-Bucks that come with the crew, plus a 1,500 V-Buck refund for the battle pass you just finished. That puts 2,500 V-Bucks in your account right off the bat. The next season drops on the 18th, and your active crew sub will automatically unlock that new battle pass. Since you have almost a full month of your subscription left to play, you can easily level it up and earn another 1,500 V-Bucks, bringing your grand total to 4,000 in just a few weeks. Now, let's look at how you snag all those extra passes before your 1-month subscription runs out. We already covered the refund for your current battle pass and getting the next one that drops on the 18th. On top of that, your crew sub automatically unlocks the current Fortnite OG pass, giving you a little over 2 weeks to finish it before it ends on March 31st. You will also unlock the current festival pass with plenty of time to max it out, plus the current Ninjago Lego pass. That Lego pass is actually super easy, because completing your main battle pass automatically unlocks all the rewards for it anyway. Things get a little trickier with the upcoming passes. The next festival pass starts on April 15th, meaning you'll only have a day or two to grind levels before your crew sub expires. The absolute toughest one is the second Lego pass, which is supposedly Ninjago Part 2. That launches on April 16th, right around the time your sub will likely run out, so you'll have to decide if pulling off a crazy speed run is worth the effort for you. Finally, you get the Rocket League pass that starts on March 11th. Keep in mind that Rocket League is a totally separate game, so you'll actually have to download it to claim your stuff. You can realistically grab 2 cars before your sub ends, one just for logging in, and another around level 40. So that's pretty much it, but for now, let's switch gears back to the island and the arrival of the visitor. The evolving storyline of Fortnite Chapter 7 is completely flipping the script and changing absolutely everything the player base thought they knew about the game. When you take a close look at the latest teasers dropped by Epix, it becomes glaringly obvious that the deep and intricate narrative universe originally created years ago by Donald Mustard is finally getting the massive continuation it deserves. For the longest time, the community felt like we were left hanging in the breeze, waiting for a resolution to the massive cliffhangers that defined the earlier eras of the Battle Royale experience. Now, it feels exactly like we are watching a highly anticipated blockbuster unfolding right before our eyes. In the teasers that Epic recently published leading up to the massive final live event and the launch of the second season, it becomes crystal clear that our primary mission on the island is going to be tracking down the Foundation. However, that simple directive immediately throws a massive curveball our way. The most important question hovering over the entire community right now is exactly which version of the Foundation we are actually supposed to find. If you really think about the sheer scale of the multiverse, the situation is like trying to find a specific needle in a haystack the size of Texas. During the current chapter, we crossed paths with the Order, who is a crucial and recognizable member of the 7 originating directly from our own established reality. At the exact same time, the Visitor recently made a grand and dramatic arrival on the island. But in a massive twist that left us scratching our heads in confusion, it turns out this is a completely different variant of the Visitor, hailing from a totally alternate reality. This creates a deeply fractured dynamic that we have never had to navigate before. This conflicting dynamic is exactly what makes the current state of the lore so incredibly fascinating, and it really forces you to stop and analyze the bigger picture. When we finally manage to track down the Foundation, will this leader be the steadfast hero from our own timeline, or will he be a totally foreign entity from an unknown alternate universe? Back at the very beginning of the chapter, Epic made a bold promise to the community that the Seven would officially return to re-establish peace and order across the realms. Yet, what we are currently looking at is a completely mixed-up roster that does not match our historical records. We have the Order representing our original timeline, while this new visitor has dropped in from an entirely different dimension altogether. This bizarre situation leaves the ultimate fate of our original visitor, along with the rest of the original Seven, shrouded in complete and total mystery. What is incredibly interesting is that this new duplicate of the visitor is definitely not the same silent and calculating figure. This shift directly leads me to my main point of concern regarding the future of the storyline. When we finally come face to face with the Foundation again, is he going to be the exact same hero we knew and trusted? There is a very real possibility that we might end up crossing paths with a dark and twisted version of him, someone whose moral compass points in a completely different direction. Alternatively, we might encounter a completely different person entirely who just happens to wear the iconic armor. It is absolutely not a guaranteed fact that he will look or sound exactly like he did in the past. Dwayne Johnson generously lent his famous physical likeness and charismatic voice to bring the Foundation to life in previous chapters. However, considering the fact that the alternate reality visitor was introduced with a brand new voice actor, does this not heavily imply that the Foundation could also turn out to be someone completely different? It is highly likely that we will not be seeing Dwayne Johnson under the helmet this time around, which would be a massive shock to the system for longtime fans who associate the character exclusively with that collab. The primary reason I am bringing up the terrifying idea that the Foundation might not be a purely positive or heroic character anymore is entirely based on how the new visitor has been acting since he arrived on our Chapter 7 island. This new alternate reality visitor is absolutely nothing like the guy we are used to dealing with. To put it bluntly, this version of him is way more demanding and pushy. He barks orders like a drill sergeant at a military boot camp, completely dominating the conversation and creating the overwhelming impression that he was actually the supreme leader of the Seven, in whatever reality he originally came from. Furthermore, we know for a fact that this alternate visitor did not just casually stroll onto the Golden Coast for a vacation. He arrived with a very specific and highly mission, because he was actively hunting down the Dark Voyager. As we recently discovered, when this new visitor traveled back into the OG reality, it was definitely not a random accident. Over a long period of time, he had been embarking on a relentless and exhausting journey, aggressively tearing through countless different realities that the Dark Voyager had maliciously reduced to absolute ashes. The visitor was chasing him relentlessly across the vast cosmos, but we really need to pause and ask ourselves what his true motivation actually is. Was he chasing the Dark Voyager purely to stop his path of destruction and save innocent lives? Or could there be some other hidden and incredibly selfish interest driving his pursuit? It is entirely possible that this specific alternate reality version of the Seven are not actually the heroes of the dimension they originated from. They might operate strictly in a moral gray area. On the flip side, there is also the possibility that the Dark Voyager has already completely obliterated the home reality that these alternate variants came from, leaving them as bitter survivors seeking revenge. Although judging purely by the incredibly confident and dominant way this new visitor carries himself, I seriously doubt he would have allowed the Dark Voyager to completely destroy his homeworld without putting up a massive and devastating fight. So, where does all of this incredibly complex narrative building leave us right now? The storyline of the game is not just moving forward, it is rapidly evolving. Yet, the most massive and glaring questions remain completely unanswered. Who exactly are these alternate reality versions of the Seven? What is their genuine ultimate objective in our universe? Why are they so obsessed with pursuing the Dark Voyager to the very ends of existence? And most importantly, do they actually plan on sticking around in our reality permanently once the dust finally settles?